What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at St Vitus, and today we are here with Walls of Jericho. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yep.
Pleasure.
Waited 10 years to finally see you guys. Thank you for coming back. Your latest record is No One Could Save You From Yourself. And I know that it was that's like your first record in like 8 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So do you have like a conclusion since it's been out for 2 years now?
I think that it's crazy that people still care.
It is, yeah. It's pretty amazing that people still care, but I mean, honestly, we care, so that's what matters the most. It's been really cool to come back and do the U.S. because we were not doing it so much before because it's like time-sensitive type of situation, where in the U.S. you have to tour quite a bit, usually 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and we got opportunity to do this tour, which is 1 week, and we took it. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Now, being that it was like the first record in 8 years, it obviously wasn't just picking up where you left off after the first record before that. It was like a fresh start, more or less.
I guess so. Yeah, if you think of it that way. We were just amped to get back to it and create something again together. So
A lot of the songs have been worked on for 8 years too. Like some of those songs Mike had laying around, and then we had worked on, and then it was a really we would work on stuff, and then we wouldn't work on stuff, and then we would and then finally it all kind of just came together. So
Okay.
it was kind of interesting how it worked.
Yeah, really. And did you, since the songs were around for like 8 years, did you change like that? Did things change a lot?
Oh yeah.
yeah, song structures, especially when we got in the studio, they move things around together. Yeah.
Now, what I've always liked about Walls of Jericho is you have a metal side to you, you have a punk rock side, you have a hardcore side to it. So, and you've toured with a variety of bands like Mayhem Fest with Five Finger and Machine Head, and now you're doing the show with First Blood. So because you have all these different elements, do you sometimes adjust your set list depending on who you tour with?
Totally.
Yeah, a little bit. Different crowds create different vibes, so you use music according to that, or what we're feeling per tour is kind of what you go off of. Our vibe and what we're willing to bring to the stage is reflected through the songs, so that's just kind of how we do it. But I mean, we came from the hardcore punk rock scene, the smaller venues, more DIY stuff, where at one point bands all meshed together, punk rock, hardcore, metal, just kind of infused, and then there was the separation of it, so we just kind of keep that spirit as much as we can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You definitely do. But what I've always liked about Walls of Jericho is because you mentioned the whole vibe thing, but I'm able to get a different vibe depending on what I'm listening to. A song like Feeding Frenzy, for example, is a very angry song, but then stuff off the Redemption EP, No Saving Me, that made me tear up when I first heard it. So clearly, from talking to fans of you guys, they feel differently about certain songs. Do you have a different feeling when you're performing them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There'll be songs that kind of inspire me, songs that kind of bring that rage out that you just kind of need to do and create something as an outlet, just to be able to get out of you. So I mean, that's what music is. It's emotion, so it brings out all different sorts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Now, Dustin, one question I had for you, as we were talking before we started rolling, that you also play with Bury Your Dead,
Yeah.
and I was curious to, it's kind of two questions in one, but how different of a mind frame is it playing for Bury Your Dead as opposed to Walls of Jericho? Being that it's, since you're drumming, is do you just have blanket mind frame of keeping rhythm and keeping beat, or?
Yeah, I actually a lot of people don't know this too, but I sometimes sit in for VOD.
Oh, wow.
And that's kind of interesting too. So if you take the three bands that are all hardcore bands at heart, and you have to take a different approach to each band as a drummer, because to me, as a drummer, I look at it as you have to play what the music is. You can't just interpret it yourself. You have to play what was written, what was recorded, out of respect for the people that wrote and recorded that stuff. So yeah, of course, it's definitely a different mind frame to get into. Totally different vibe,
And does experimenting maybe with those other bands maybe allow you to bring in some newer elements with Walls of Jericho?
Totally, because Walls of Jericho, we kind of just do what we do, and there's no it has to be this, Bury Your Dead is very much it has to be this. VOD, I'm not involved in their writing, but I've played some shows with them, and it's very much it has to be this. We're Walls of Jericho is just like we talked earlier, punk and metal and hardcore and all kinds of different stuff. So like it definitely has sharpened me up as a player, 100%. I play country now. That's also interesting. Like it's insane.
You're gonna bring some country.
Music is music. No,
Yeah,
we're not
music's
gonna bring
music.
country, but like
We
music
might.
is music. We enjoy all of it and the elements that come with it. So.
Well, I mean, Addicted's one of my favorite songs by you guys, and that has a bit of a country vibe to it.
Well, we don't. Yes, I mean we can record music like that all we want because that's us. That's being us being able to express ourselves through our music, which is what we're allowed to do because it's our band, right? But what we want to create on at shows and on stage is just a different vibe. So that's why we don't bring those in.
Okay.
You know, some bands will mesh that together, but that's just not what we want. We want just straight energy and raw and power
So you're not
and like
playing House of the
we're
Rising
not
Sun
into
tonight.
it. No.
No, but that 5-finger death punch ruined
Yes.
that
Oh, that was rough. Yeah. So we started as a band that had a certain type of vibe, and that's like what we want on stage. So that's what
Okay.
we stick with. Yeah.
So you are really good at this because you keep answering my next question with everyone. No, but like, so when you perform songs live versus when you're recording them in the studio and you're presenting them live to an audience, there's obviously a different attachment or different emotion expressing it live as opposed to when you were making it in the studio.
Yeah, but we do think about that. You think about that beforehand. You think about like what it is that you want out of the song and what emotions you want to produce. That is something that we have learned over the time that we need to do in records so that we don't write a song that then doesn't like translate to anything emotional for us on stage. So we think about that beforehand. Yep.
Okay. And one of the final questions I was curious about is Walls of Jericho is from Detroit. So I heard, I mean, even though they're from Flint, King 810 is from there, and they kind of have that hardcore Michigan vibe to them. And I heard the Michigan hardcore scene in general is just crazy. So starting out, was that like a scene that you kind of cut your teeth in, or were you one of those bands that kind of had to go outside your hometown in order to...
I think that,
Good question.
you know, from my perspective, because I'm not from Detroit, I'm from an hour south.
Oh.
And an hour south is Toledo. And we actually went to Detroit for hardcore because when we all started going to shows, like the Detroit hardcore scene was insane.
It was great.
I mean, it really
Great
was.
scene.
Everybody
Absolutely.
knew
Just
everybody.
music, man.
And
It's
like
so
people
good.
from Flint to Toledo to like Alpena,
Yep.
like all kinds of crazy areas like gravitated towards Detroit.
The scene was just different.
Yeah, it
I
really
was just talking with somebody about this the other day. It's like you go into a show and it was just this welcoming family that you got to like be a part of. Everybody with like-mindedness and kind of similar goals of what they wanted the world to be. And it was more about creating something together, a vibe together, a change together. It wasn't as much about like, hey, what the riff, the
Or the
breakdown,
competition that comes
the
in it.
competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was just you were there, a band would play, and you would enjoy their music no matter what, and had this like sense of respect for it. Where I feel like that's completely lacking
Yeah.
in the scene now. It was more about like, I can go to a show, and if a shit ton of people are dancing to a band, chances are I probably don't like them. And it's like my like rebel mentality of like, it's not about what's popular, it's about what you're saying, it's about what you're doing and who you are. Not so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just different, and Detroit like embodied that. Like, we are here. This is a statement, like, of who we are and what we believe in. You
And
know?
not that it's gone away; it's just
not
gotten smaller.
completely- yeah.
It's definitely still there. There's a place
Yeah.
called the Sanctuary that brings in a lot of great bands. There is a small Detroit hardcore scene that still embodies what Candace just said,
Yeah.
but a lot of it, you know, I think in my opinion, in like 2003 to 2009, like hardcore just became so mainstream and everybody just got sucked up into it, and it didn't, the mentality of hardcore, the brotherhood and sisterhood
Right,
just
what
went
it's
away
about.
because it just became a competition. It was all about with everybody, not just Detroit, but
Yeah,
everything.
Everything. I think that's
It
what
was
is what happens.
yeah.
With anything that starts small, it gets big. They don't know. They don't
Labels
catch
start
up
telling you what to
as
do.
fast, yeah.
It just
They wanted her to
throws you
sing on
People
every
catch up,
album.
yeah.
You know, it's like,
Yeah.
come on.
All of a sudden, a person that would be like a normie, I guess, is into the band because somehow it's made it into Hot Topic, and then like, you know, like-mindedness is not there anymore.
Yeah.
You know, their reasons for being at the show is not the same as your reasons for a show. You know, it's just
Well, it's funny. We just interviewed actually Agnostic Front, which is, and Roger said like that like the hardcore scene, it's different. He said it's kind of like not really his party anymore, but the fact that there is still a hardcore scene in general, like I don't think he's a fan of the bands per se, but he likes bands like Code Orange or Twitching Tongues or Nails, kind of carrying that hardcore vibe into it.
Yeah, I agree.
It's coming back.
Yep.
100% it's coming back.
Yep.
I think all the like corporate nonsense that's been around for like the last probably 10 years, it's going away. Like corporate America or whatever you want to call it, it all folded, and labels are walking away from it, and they're doing other shit like face tattooed rappers or whatever the hell people are into.
Hardcore isn't sustainable for their monetary
but hardcore's
value.
never going to go away. It's always going to be there's a kid's going to be doing VFW hall shows for 20 years from now.
Which it should be so it's getting back to where it should be, I think, and like what was so special about it.
You're in the right venue tonight for
100%.
that.
That's the kind of thing. Exactly. This is what it's about. Yeah.
That's what this tour's been about. It's just like play small venues with great bands, and we don't care about fucking sound scan numbers, and
Just
who
be on
cares?
the road and enjoy it for what it's
just play
supposed
some
to
fun
be.
shows.
Yeah, because we want to play music. Yep.
I would say it's very different from when I first heard of you guys on Mayhem Fest, which was 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Right.
That was a long time ago.
I mean, our mentality didn't change.
Yeah.
But people like bands get offers. That's the thing. That's what started to happen. Like you said, like hardcore started becoming a bit more mainstream, and all these bands started getting offers that they never did before. And so, I mean, it was definitely an experience, but it was like not our scene.
We had fun though. Don't get us wrong.
We had fun.
We had a
It's
lot
an
of fun.
experience.
I'll never ever say that.
Absolutely.
It was great.
No.
I sadly missed it because I was in summer camp. But
Awesome.
no, it wasn't. I had to watch people butcher every band that was on Mayhem Fest.
Oh, okay.
Rather than go to the festival. But before we go, I want to thank you guys so much for your time. I'm finally stoked to finally be seeing you guys. But now that No One Can Save You From Yourself is 2 years old, is there anything we could be expecting from the Walls of Jericho Army in terms of more tours or new music?
Well, we're doing this tour right now.
That's it?
That's that's what we got right now.
All right.
We don't know.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
It is. It's always a mystery.
I have a feeling as soon as I
talk about something that hasn't happened yet.
I just have a feeling as soon as I turn the camera off. But
we'll tell you what's really going on.
But thank you guys so much. Everybody, this is Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at St Vitus here with Walls of Jericho. If you haven't already, pick up their latest record, No One Can Save You From Yourself. We'll see you next time. Keep it hardcore, guys.